Going to be a big day tomorrow morning. I'm going to try something totally new as far as getting in the water and bringing all of my behind the scenes gear with me. So I'm going to try and be able to record through the viewfinder with the wide angle as well, so I can show everybody the scenery. And I'm going to be setting up some decoys, trying for bufflehead and maybe some ruddy ducks. And sometimes I think there's common mergansers in this area. So I just finished modifying my float hide so I could mount all the stuff inside of that, all the hardware I need to do this. And yeah, I'm going to take the Z6 II out with the 500mm f4 and all the gear and the microphones and electronics to record everything. So excited, but a little bit nervous, and also recognizing it's going to be a ton of work. So I'm going to have to get there probably a good hour and a half before sunrise, if not a little bit more. That way I have time to assemble everything, put it all in the water, set the decoys up, and then get settled in and be ready before the sun even rises. So that's the plan tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. If anything doesn't go according to plan, I'm just going to kind of stop because I don't want to push myself and then mess up any of this gear. So, but hopefully it does work, and then hopefully the birds cooperate as well. So that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. I'll see you in the morning. It's about an hour and a half before sunrise. Just got to my spot. I got to set up the float hide, get the decoys out. Gonna try and get in the water, get everything set up, and hopefully to be set up about 15-20 minutes before sunrise. So let's get to it. Well, I did it. I'm all set up. I'm in the water. The decoys are out. It's about 20 minutes before sunrise. And now it's time to sit here and wait. I'm really hoping some ducks are going to show up. Even if they don't, it's just a gorgeous morning out here. And it's so fun being in the water. I'm tucked in, backer with my decoys surrounding me. I got a little bit of brush, these dead sticks, hanging over my head. And so I'm kind of tucked up under this overhang. This is where I'm going to sit and wait for the sun to rise. It's just about sunrise. I was hoping for a little bit more light this morning. It looks like some clouds rolled in. The last I had checked, the forecast was supposed to be totally clear, but that's how it goes. So I'm going to stay anyway. I got everything set up, and I'm just curious to see if any ducks are even going to show. So far I have seen only mallards. No bufflehead have shown, no mergansers, but like I said, it's not even sunrise yet. So I'm waiting to see if maybe once the sun comes up and the birds start moving a little bit more, maybe they see my decoys and drop in. So that's the hope. But so far so good. Nice and comfy out here, not too freezing. There's a little bit more waves than I had hoped, so shooting in the floating hide is going to be fun. If the ducks do come in, I'm going to have to be struggling to... Sorry, I thought I saw something. I'm going to be struggling just to keep them in the frame because it's bouncing around a little bit, but it's not horrible yet, so hopefully the wind doesn't pick up anymore. You gotta love a nice bald eagle flyby in the morning. Well, I've been sitting in the water for a while and there's nothing much happening, no birds, so I figure I'd pop out and show you the setup. There's the wide angle camera on top, 500 sticking out from the front, got camo everywhere, and then this is, I would call this the command center. All the setup in here, everything I need to record audio and video through the lens, batteries to operate everything, cables going everywhere, spot to hold my phone, which connects to the camera on the front so I can control that, and then my external recorder, and the Z6 II that puts it all together. It's quite a nice setup, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. Finally, I have something to photograph. A trio of mallards flew in and then started slowly swimming towards me. 2 males and 1 female. And take notice, look how calm the water looks, barely any ripples. But notice how this translates into the floating hide. See how it's bouncing around? Those incredibly tiny waves actually bounce the camera around that much. It's easy to lose focus and tough to maintain and compose anything. But I did manage to get some shots. The trio kept swimming in a little bit closer. And then I got some beautiful lights in the background and pastel tones in the sky. You can see how those sky colors translate into the photo. As they started cruising by me, I decided to zero in on the trailing duck because it was more by itself. Waiting for the waves to calm down, I'm able to get a sharp photo. And then you can see when they neared the decoys, they were curious, but a little hesitant. And that's usually what ducks do when they get near decoys. They come over, it feels safe, and then they just kind of hang around for a little bit, and they're unsure, and in a little while, they'll just kind of swim off when they realize, I think they realize, these ducks aren't real. They didn't go too far, and then shortly after, the whole group of them started doing some preening, which was really fun. So I concentrated on that, tried to see how I could compose something kind of interesting, and I thought with all the white in the foreground, oh, look at this guy, he's about getting ready to flap. Let's see how it works. Got him. I like the little dip afterwards. So yeah, with all the white in the foreground, because the background wasn't that pretty, I tried to just go high key in that regard. And so I was putting them in the top of the frame and just trying for that. I wanted to get an all high key shot, but I couldn't with the background at the top. And this fella started swimming away, so I switched over to this one who was facing me a little bit better. And then in post, I just edited the top out. So in that way, I was able to get my high key image, because you can see how the duck isn't intersecting the background. So here's another one. I just whitened up the top, and look at those eyes on the head-on view. So it was just a beautiful morning. These mallards were just hanging out around me, staying in the area due to the decoys, but you can see how comfortable they were, and I was having a blast photographing them. And then I started trying to play with the subject tracking. And it's not that bad. I thought maybe it would help me because of how I was bouncing around in the float hide, and it was really hard for me to keep a single focus point on the subject, so I thought maybe I'd let the camera do some of the work. And you can see here it's doing a pretty good job. But then it starts grabbing random things, and it just felt inconsistent. But granted, I was bouncing all over the place from these very tiny waves, so not an easy thing for any camera to track. And it's not like I was doing a great job on my own. But still, it was kind of interesting to play with it and see how it worked. It kind of did better than I thought it would, even when I lost the bird in the frame from the waves bouncing up and down. So anyway, that's about enough of that. I don't want to get you guys seasick watching this. So then they just swam across, and they headed over to the shoreline. Look at that beautiful sky. It was so fun being in the water with these ducks. Alright, so it's about an hour and a half in, just starting to get some light, as you can see behind me. It's kind of glowing on me now. I have only had mallards come in, but you know, hey, mallards, that's cool. Nothing wrong with them. There was 2 drakes and a hen. Got some shots of them. I wish I had the light I had right now. So the light was a little bit boring right at the end before they swam away. The light was a little bit interesting, so that was nice. But anyway, I'm moving position so I can set up to shoot more backlight on these decoys, just in case something does come in. Overall, still a lot of fun. I've just realized how cold out it is, and that all the little bit of water that got on the top of my float hide, on the floats, is completely ice right now. So that's kind of an indication of, oh, all right, it is pretty cold out here. But this is fun. It still is fun. I'm enjoying being out here. It's pretty neat being in the water in these temperatures. This is the first time I've done it in the dry suit. I've done it in waders before, but this is just so much better, way more maneuverable. I can kind of go where I need to go. And I think I'm gonna have to invest in some extra layers on my pants, like on my legs, only because that's the area that's getting the coldest right now. You know, my core is pretty cool, or warm, I should say. And I'm not like freezing or shivering. I haven't gotten to shivering yet. I'm guessing I got about another half hour in me before it's kind of like enough. Biggest surprise is my feet stayed warm. I stacked them top and bottom with those toe warmers, those chemical toe warmer things. So I have to assume that without those, my feet would be completely frozen right now. So that's a nice bonus, that I can still feel my toes. So that's a good thing. But yeah, this light is gorgeous right now. I'm actually gonna switch and just record a little bit of scenery just to show you guys what it looks like. And then hopefully we'll get anything to show up, because this light is cool. After a little more waiting, I got lucky and a pair of female Common Mergansers flew in and landed pretty far away, so I actually made my way to them in the float hide. Beautiful background, right? It's such an urban area. But check this out. At some point, they decided to take off and fly towards my decoys. And I got not one, but 2 shots of this female flying by, which is pretty cool. But check this out. This is the first time I've noticed this issue from the silent shutter. And the way the sensor reads out, look at those buildings in the background. They're actually all slanted. So the bird is sharp and everything looks clear with that, but those buildings are all slanted because I was moving really quickly to stay with the bird. So that's a time when I should have gone to mechanical shutter. They flew right over and landed in the backlit sun, which is ideal. You know I love that light. And so I immediately started just shooting even though they were far away. And then at one point one of them called out, and check this out. You could see the breath floating in the air right off the beak. And then they slowly swam towards the sunlight, and at this point the sun was just too bright. My ISO was really low, my shutter speed was maxed, and although I wanted to silhouette them in that sun, it was just too bright and blown out. I should have increased my aperture a lot. But I was bouncing around, it happened quick. I didn't have time to think of all that. They slowly started making their way towards me. But they didn't quite come far enough. They stayed off in this awkward light direction, and you'll see in a minute when I show you through the lens. It's somewhere in between silhouette. It's a heavy side light, and it was just really difficult. I tried taking some shots to see if they might come out, but they did not, and then I think they weren't happy with the float hide and started swimming away a little bit, so that was pretty much that. They headed back towards the sunlight, and I was able to get a few more shots of them in backlight, but nothing that I was real happy with. Little did I know, as soon as I would step out of the float hide, some other ducks would come flying in. I'm not even sure what they were. And then moments later, I would see some bufflehead fly by. But that's how it goes. Well, guys, I think that's it. I think that's a wrap. I'm pretty damn cold. Gotta go to the bathroom. And those common Mergansers that just swam by kind of really went off. The tide's getting really low to the point of where some of my decoys are almost up on land now. So I think that's a good sign to just say that's a morning. A lot of fun. I may have just gotten a couple of shots of those female hooded Mergansers, common Mergansers, but not sure yet, so I'll certainly have to check. But yeah, fun first outing with the float hide in some really cold water. The ice is finally starting to melt off my float blind now, which is good. So I'm gonna get out of this water, warm up, and pack up everything. All in all, it was a beautiful day, and there's nowhere I'd rather be.